It's been a minute since you released a brand new album, 8 years after your self-titled album. Right now,
Yeah,
please take us back inside that hot sauce, your vibe, your
yeah.
vision. What was it like jumping back in the studio to work on this latest project?
It was exhilarating for a couple different reasons. I mean, like you said, it had been about 8 years, which is crazy, since I'd done like an album, like a full project. And I think the reason for that was usually when I'm recording, I kind of go into this bubble. I go into like this mad scientist bubble. And my kids, you know, those formative early years are so important, like, age 2 to like 3, 4, 5, 6. And not that not that it's not important that I'm there when they're, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, but that's usually the age when the kids are like, all right, dad, it's cool, we got our Sega whatever and our, I sound horrible right now, but I mean, you know, you know what I mean?
Keep
It's
it
like
real.
during those really early years, I just didn't want to be away as much. And so I made a pretty conscious decision that, I've been blessed enough to have established, a pretty nice discography of songs over the past like 20 some years. And so I can tour. I can go get a gig here. I can go do a gig here. I can go overseas and gig. And that's, and I'm very blessed that way. But, after a while, it's just like, yo, I want to get back in the studio. And it was the perfect time to do it because I launched a record label. I actually reached back and asked the person who gave me my very first record deal at Warner Brothers way back in the 1840s when I did my first solo project. It was awesome. Like she just got her first executive gig. And actually, my first record deal was with my sister. And we were fresh out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, didn't know nothing. We got our first deal at EMI. She signed us. That deal kind of went nowhere. A couple years later, she got repositioned at Warner Brothers, junior A&R position. She was like, I'm signing you there too. So when I got the funding to do this label, we stayed friends like brother and sister throughout the years. We're just super close friends. And I said, hey, would you like to run this record label? And she was like, hell no. I'm trying to run no damn record label. The music industry is messed up. Why would I want to do that? I'm like, well, I got funding. I can pay you. Damn. It wasn't the money that made her want to do it, but it really was just reigniting the fact that, look, there are talented artists out there. Real music is important. We don't want those authentic, passionate musicians to get lost in the sauce of what seems to be happening, where actual talent is taking maybe a backseat to, I don't know, fill in the blank, like personal train wrecks in your life. Hey, we're gonna shoot you right up to the top of the charts. Oh, you almost got shot. Oh, that's awesome. We'll make you a star. It's just like
Yeah.
all that to say there are so many other factors now where it should be just raw talent, raw passion for the music, for the craft. Those are the people that should be rewarded with so I don't know. I sound like I'm on a soapbox now, so maybe it's the
No,
coffee. I
man.
should shut
No,
up.
no, no. And here's the real deal. I understand because I come from old school. I've got 5 young kids, so I like to introduce them to the older music, and they attach to it because there's something visceral and emotional and real about it. So I hear what you're saying, man. You're not denigrating what's happening now. Entertainment can be coming in different forms,
True,
but we're
true, true.
talking about that heart and soul, man. So no, I feel it.
And the dope part is what you just said. When I'm doing my old man scrolling through TikTok, I am seeing some amazing new talent. I am seeing amazing artists who are blessed with all kind of musical information in their brain. And I'm like, how are you doing this at 14 years old? The thing is now is it's a numbers game. It's like everybody, if you got a laptop, you got a recording studio. So it's like there's so many people out there fighting for attention. And I think it's a good thing to have old heads like me and Allison and other people like me who have a reverence for the craft of making music to be like, yo, let us lend you some of our old people knowledge on how you can get that attention, what you need to do so that people will see you as a priority and not just say, "Oh, that's cool," and keep scrolling.
Yeah, disposable.
And yeah, exactly, exactly.
Well, congratulations on the label. I love the 360, the full 360 story of coming back together and getting into the trenches with people you trust, love, and also appreciate their talent. That's magic.
Absolutely, man. Like raw, real, and honest talent will never go out of style.
Got that right. You have a history of creating magical duets, going back to your second album, Treating the World to Spend My Life with You, featuring
Yeah,
the very talented Tamia. Just
yeah,
it's one of those gorgeous, smooth, sexy songs hit you right in the heart.
yeah,
I'm
man.
curious to hear directly from you. Where and when did inspiration hit you for this latest album called Duets?
Allison, being the visionary that she is, first she was like, "You need to get in the studio first and make a record. It's been 8 years. What the hell is wrong with you?" And second, like, let's focus on your strengths. Like you just said, it's like, let's look at some of your biggest songs. Faith Evans, Tamia, we're duets. And it was something that I had been meaning to do at some point in my career. I was thinking, man, I probably need to do a duets album. But the intention and the vision was clear when we went into the studio this time that, yo, we're going to reach out to some of my favorite female vocalists and ask if they will join me to this party. And I'm very grateful that they did. Names like Lettucey, Corinne Bailey Ray, Carrie Hilson, Shantae Moore, Tamar
Oh,
Braxton. Just had my first number one off the project with Tamar Braxton. And this week, the second single with Shantae is number 9 on the Billboard charts going up. And so it's an amazing project. And I got to not limit myself, well, because it's my label, I can do what the hell I want to do. But also musically, I'm kind of like a smorgasbord, like a big mixture of a bunch of stuff. So I got to do like a bossa nova joint. I got to do like a very Spanish bolero type song. And of course I do some of my, Eric Benét, like with the strings and the R&B falsetto things. But I thought it was really important that I reach out to younger producers and work with them because look, I want to I want to learn from them, just like they're learning from me. So I got with like DJ Camper, got in the studio with like Tony Dixon, got in the studio. Well, Tony ain't no young producer, but he's still out there making hits.
still
Neither
doing it.
He's still doing it. Neither is Laney Stewart or Tricky Stewart. Like they're legends in the industry, but I thought it was important for me to mix it up with other producers on this one.
And gets those juices flowing too, man. It's like getting there, flexing those muscles, getting them back going, hitting the.
Amen. Amen. That's a perfect analogy because it's like your creativity, even if I haven't been well, I'm always writing songs, but I hadn't been in the studio doing an album in years. But it's like muscle memory, man. It's like, oh yeah, riding a bike or a horse or whatever your vehicle of
Like,
choice
oh,
is.
that feels good. The hurt a little sore at
Yeah,
the beginning, but now I got it. Now I got it.
exactly, exactly.
I love that, man. Well, I want to talk about it. Talking about the success you're having right now. Let's talk about your new single, "So Distracted." Yeah, I want to know what is it about this song that makes it the perfect jumping off cut for the latest Eric Benet experience.
Thank you. I feel like with that particular song, it has so much old school in it, but sonically, Randy Amata, who is like one of my songwriting and producing partners. Randy is a brilliant producer. Sonically, I wanted it to have the crispness or the bottom end of what's happening like now, but still have my old school sensibilities of musicalities and a bridge. Can you imagine that? I put a bridge in the song. I just think that the feel of it really was indicative of what I'm trying to do with the entire project. I'm trying to keep my old school sensibilities in melody, but present it sonically in a way that, younguns can relate to.
Well, hey, man, I think fans and myself personally, we'd be brokenhearted if you weren't bringing that Eric Benet DNA always sprinkled through there. We got to have that.
Thank you, sir. Oh, and how could I forget on that particular song? I mean, you've been in the industry a long time. There's so few people that when you say, oh, they're such a nice person and they're just such a sweetheart, Sometimes you lying a little bit when you say that, but but with this particular person, Shantae Moore, she is just not only is she just a beast vocally. She does like unworldly things with her voice, but she is just like the funnest and sweetest person to hang out to. That's the other reason why that particular song makes sense because I just love her so much and her husband Steven. So it all made sense.
Man, what a gift to have not only the music magic, but enjoy spending time and creating with people. That's such a gift. You know, when you get back inside that music, physically and emotionally, when you break it
Mhm.
down as an artist, how would you describe the key ingredients, the rare magic that makes a classic duet?
First of all, everything starts with the song. And the inspiration from the song can come from anywhere. Like, for instance, there's a song on the record. Well, I mentioned it before. It's like this Spanish bolero type romantic, tragically romantic song with like 46-piece orchestra playing strings in the background. It's a beautiful song. It's called Eres mi vida. Oh, I just jacked that up because I don't speak Spanish. Eres mi vida. So,
And what does that
but
mean? Something in my life?
love of my life. Well, something like
Sounds like
that.
it makes
Damn, man.
sense. My
I
daughter
don't
knows
speak
Spanish.
I don't
Yeah.
speak Spanish. Why are you asking me? But
You sing it.
so I sing that mess real good. But when I was thinking of the melody of that song, I thought it was going to be a song for Corinne Bailey Ray and I. Even though it's a song, some of it is in Spanish, some of it is in English. But Corinne had said that she would collaborate with me on something. And so sometimes the inspiration comes from just thinking of that particular singer's voice. And then I was thinking of Corinne Bailey Ray's voice and the melody, the entire hook for Eres Mi Vida just hit me. So I sent the song to Corinne Bailey Ray. I'm like, this is what I heard for you and I to do. And she was like, wow, this song is beautiful, but this ain't me. So so I'm like, oh man, okay, I got this song. I eventually asked this amazing vocalist that David Foster hooked me up with, Pia Toscano. She recorded Eres Mi Vida with me. But that's just to give you an example of the fact that I don't know where the inspiration is going to come from sometimes. Sometimes it's just thinking about the singer's voice. Sometimes for me, it's like thinking about the lyrical situation that the song is about, and then a melody will just start to form. Sometimes it ain't, it's about not thinking about anything.
Yeah.
It's almost like a meditation thing where you just don't think and just whatever is about to come through, just let it come.
I love hearing about the process because people rarely get to peek behind the curtain. They hear a song they love, but they have no idea the building blocks and what goes into
Yeah.
that. How
Yeah.
excited do you get because you live with this for so long, breathing it, thinking about it, dreaming about it, getting it on paper, and then you meet with that artist in the studio? How excited do you get to then finally execute and share it with the world?
Man, I smile because you hit on one of the most magical things about my job. You know, I can have somebody that I've been listening to for years and I am like fanboying out on their voice, like Lettucey, and be like, damn, I saw you live in Oakland and oh, I remember when you did this on that award show. So I'm going into the studio as a fan. So and then to have that vocalist after we exchanged the pleasantries, which in itself is a trip because, you know, I stay in fan mode, you know, when I'm working with artists.
Cool.
And after you get past the pleasantries and then they go in the vocal booth and she starts singing a melody that you wrote, it is something very difficult to try to explain the sheer joy and affirming love that really is as a creative person. It's like, wow, like the universe is really put me in the right place at the right time because look, I got Carrie Hilson in the studio singing some vocals that I'm about to be on with her, which is crazy because she's a beast. You know, it's like it is the most incredible feeling.
You know, it's got to be. And again, I can't even imagine because I can't sing or do anything musically, but it almost has to be something that is akin to spiritual, that it hits you somewhere.
Yeah, man, you got a knack for hitting it on the head, bro. I mean, because that's really what it is. It's like it just feels like I am in congruence with God right now because I am feeling so much joy by this act of creation. It really is like a very spiritual thing. Most songwriters will probably give you some roundabout answer when you ask them, so where does the inspiration come from? Like, where did that melody come from? Most songwriters are going to go some roundabout way of saying, I don't know. But I know that it comes from some beautiful, loving place. And
Mm.
that's really what it feels like whenever I write a song.
And that's why, songs stick to your soul. They get into your psyche, your veins. And I
Yeah.
walk around all day. I don't even know why it's there and something's going on. I'll wake up in the morning and a
Yeah.
song that I haven't heard for 10 years will
Right.
pop. It's tattooed on your brain and your heart.
And then why is it that those series of notes in that order elicit this emotion and sticks in your brain? Like, why those notes in the hook? Like, it's like, I don't know the answer, but man, it just feels good when it feels good.
Yeah, man. Well, you're one of those blessed brothers that actually can do that for a living, and you treat us all to it. So again, God bless everything you're doing. And you
Thanks, man.
mentioned working with Tamar and hitting it out of the yard, singing a song, and love this title. Something we can make love to.
Yeah.
Speaks for itself. Some of that classic baby
Yeah.
made music.
Sir.
Right now, please do me a favor.
Yeah.
Share the fan reaction when they first heard you and Tamar smash this track.
So great question. First of all, Tamar is so much fun to be around. She
Big personality.
huge personality and just like where you need me to be. Like the most that you can ask for on a project like this is somebody A, who's a joy to be around, and B, somebody who's just like, oh, you need me to be where? I'll be there, like accessible and down for the success of the project and the song. Something we can make love to is a song that I did not write, is a song that, like I said, it was important for me to get with other producers on this project and other songwriters. And there's a really super talented brother. His name is Felly the Voice. And he is like killing the game right now. He's writing for everybody under the sun. He's a phenomenal writer. And he actually wrote the melody on this joint with the dream. And the producer of this song is somebody else, the Stewart brothers, Tricky and Laney. Laney actually produced the track, and Tricky was the one who had the relationship with Tamar, who once I heard the track and said, this shit right here is fire. Who am I going to do this with? We were thinking about it for a while, like, who is going to jump on this joint with me? And Tricky was the one that was like, I know who it should be. And I think he just FaceTimed me. I was in LA and he was in Atlanta, and he just aimed the phone in his studio at this young lady sitting on the couch, and it was Tamar. And we already had a relationship because we did a tour with Snoop Dogg a few years back, and we just had so much fun on the road together. So
Perfect.
Perfect combination.
And the fans have just been eating this one up, man. That's
Loving it.
that's got to feel
Loving it.
good.
Vocally, Tamar is crazy. She's like, she's super duper. I don't want to say underrated, maybe just underappreciated, because
That's the word.
like she's just like her range is insane, and like our vocal alchemy did a really beautiful thing on that track.
Yeah, man. What a pleasure. You get to work with, a murderer's row of Hall of Famers and going through crush it together.
Right. Right.
And once you did actually finish in studio with Tamar, it sounds like it was nothing but pure magic. Can you tell us what was the original expectation you had going in? And then also, how would you describe how it ultimately turned out, that track?
That particular track was one where Tamar recorded when she was in Atlanta, and I had already laid my vocal down. I think I went back after she put her vocal on, and I think I put some ad libs on it, maybe. Yeah, I did do that. So the in-person chemistry didn't really happen in the studio. It happened while we were performing the song, which I knew would be incredible. And as soon as we made the decision, or I ain't gonna tell that lie, she made the decision that she wanted to do the song, it was like an excitement that was so heightened because, like I said, I'm a fan of her voice and her range. And I was actually a little intimidated at first because I know what Tamar can do with her voice. And I was like, man, I know like my delivery on that song is going to be like super, super duper laid back, like Isley Brothers type
Right.
joint. And
Chocolate
she,
legs.
right. She's going to be doing her Tamar upper echelon, like dope, sweetness. And but it just worked, man. It just really works. And I think there's some singers like that
Hmm.
where there's a timbre, there's a tone, and there's a space where I live, register wise and vocally wise and tone wise. And there are some female singers, they complement the thing that I do beautifully by being the female opposite of my thing. I don't know how to explain it, man. It's just like I said, it's like alchemy with some voices in me. And to me, it was another one where it was like, you know, the register where she sings would spend my life versus where I was kind of silky and smooth here. And she's like vulnerable but loving up here. It just kind of worked.
Hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong. You ended up co-writing a couple of songs with your duet partners, right?
Yes, I did. The song that India Irie and I Must Be is the name of the song. We actually, Felly, DJ Camper, we kind of had the song done. And we asked, first of all, India Irie is another one of those things we do in LA or in the music industry where you run into somebody and they'll be like, yeah, we got to get in the studio. I know we got to get in the studio. Here it is, like 20 years later, shit hasn't happened yet. But then with India, we had been saying that all this time, and this was the project. And I sent her a few ideas, and when she heard this particular song, "It Must Be Love," she loved it, but she said, "Do you mind if I just like mess around in this section right here and kind of like write something?" I was like, "Are you kidding me? You better write the hell out of whatever the hell you feel like writing. Get your pen."
Yes.
And and so she wrote another section of the song, and a lot of the songs were like that, where the songs were basically, not only the nucleus of the song, but the structure was done. But somebody would come in, like Guapale did that on a song that I wrote with Randy called "More of the Same," where she was like, that particular lyric in that verse, I'm not really vibing with that. Do you mind if I like write something? I was like, please, by all means, like make it you. So I think there's a lot of that creative willingness from the artist. And, you know, if I'm smart, and I think I got some sense from me, willingness from me to say, please contribute, bring your gift to whatever this is we're trying to create, because that's how it's going to become greater.
Man, I love hearing about this. I don't know if you have a podcast or any designs, but you should come up with a podcast. Hell, I'd help produce it where you sit down with artists and talk about this process and the magic of music and keeping the old mixing with the new. I just think that would be something you could lay back and just crush. So something to consider if you have it. I
Hey,
think,
look, I'm gonna say this right now to your listeners. Y'all heard what he just said, right? He said he gonna produce my podcast. I'm holding you to it.
hey man, trust me, I will come on board. I would love to do that. I'm a huge music fan.
I love it.
Right now, let's take a ride. I want to jump in the time machine for a second, look back as a young brother in this industry. Who did you listen to coming up, and who were some of those artists that inspired you on your massive journey to success?
My musical influences were pretty varied. Everybody, like my favorite female vocalist is probably Ella Fitzgerald. Of course, I was listening to Aretha Franklin, Earth, Wind and Fire. David Foster was one of those producers in the 80s where if I saw his name on something, I had to go to the record store and save up my little $2 and get the project, whether it was with Earth, Wind and Fire, Shaka Khan, or Chicago, or whoever it was. But I also grew up really appreciating classical music. I love Tchaikovsky. I love Chopin. I love Mozart. And then I just grew up listening to a lot of gospel music. Bobby Caldwell, Elton John, the Beatles. Damn. Everything that I listen to or resonates with me, the vocal is usually coming from some really vulnerable place.
Mm.
And it doesn't necessarily matter the genre. When I can feel that, when I can feel, I don't know if they wrote this song, but they mean the hell out of them lyrics right now, then
Right.
I'm automatically drawn to it. And then if some of your chords just got a sprinkly little jazz-ish, not too much, because if you put too much like theory in your music and too many like whatever, you lose a lot of people. but just sprinkle something in there to just challenge my ear a little bit. When the melody is just pure and strong and simple, then maybe you got something.
Kind of like being that master chef in there, sprinkling just the right. Too much, it'll mess it
Yeah,
up. But you got
yeah,
when you taste it, you know it.
yeah. You put too many capers in that damn thing, and it's like, what the hell is this? You know. So it's
Oh
that kind of
man,
vibe.
you got that right. You mentioned it. When we first were talking about how this game has just changed so much and continues evolving, really at light speed. And it's often, and most of it's fueled by social media, the platforms everywhere, instant access to engage with your fans. What's your personal Eric Benet hot sauce for creating and cultivating your public image while also keeping your private life private?
I would love to answer that question this way. When I was first signed to Warner Brothers as a solo artist, I remember things were way different back then. Record labels had departments of artist development. We had international departments. Let's develop you internationally for this region. Let's concentrate on how you deal with press. And it was different back then. And I remember sitting with the PR department at Warner Brothers, and they knew I was like, my personality was one way, but they were like, this is what we're going to do. You're going to be like this sexy bohemian, like, dude. And yeah, there were elements of that in me. It's not that that was a lie, but the clown in me is a way more dominant flavor in the recipe of Eric Benet, the jokester, the comedy, the nerd. And so I think with the advent of social media, people have gotten a chance to see like who and what I really am. And I really am just like a damn nut. And I like to kid, I like to make jokes, I like to do silly voices, I like to do impersonations. And it's interesting, the mystique, or let's not let them see behind the curtain of what the music industry kind of used to be. It's
Yeah.
like, nah, let's burn the curtain. I want to see how you chew when you eat your cornflakes in the morning. I want to see like what you complain about when you're driving around in LA. Like people just want to see the most authentic and realest parts of you now. And so I've embraced that, and I think it's been to my advantage. People are actually who probably couldn't tell you one Eric Benet song are walking up to me now and just saying, "Man, I see you on TikTok. You be cracking me up." So it's really interesting how I can reach a whole new audience now.
That's beautiful. And even during COVID, I saw you with Tamia doing that, duet and solo. It is a great tool when used correctly, and it seems like you're leaning in. And I know you got to jump, but I'd like one final question for the fans out there. As we speak, you're out on the road, not even sure where you're at right now. Where you at?
I'm in LA, and the cool thing about this tour, and by the way, thank you for that. I'm on tour with Joe and Music Soul Child. We're coming to a city near you. Come to my website, ericbenet.net, and my schedule will be there.
I love it. And what can fans expect? I mean, this most recent chapter of your life, what can they see when they come out to see Eric Benet 2025?
Somebody who is at the peak of their game, and I say this, I don't say this lightly. Like you complimented me on this at the beginning of the conversation, but I really put a lot of effort in maintaining my health mentally, spiritually, and physically. So I'm a firm believer that if you take care of yourself and you watch, cut out the sugar, cut out the fried shit, cut out you know, try to eat whole foods, clean living, non-processed foods. You can be in your 70s and 80s still doing your damn thing. I'm about to be 60 years old in another year and a half, and I feel like I'm performing better than I ever have. So that's what people can expect. You can expect three brothers who have taken care of themselves, who have the benefit of all the years of being in this business, but also have the physicality and the spiritual mindset to be able to deliver while they're on stage. So that's the recipe for a hell of a show.
I love it. And I love you sharing your tricks to the trade because all these years I've been doing false teeth, wig, makeup, and a girdle. So I like the clean living better.
Man, you look real, man. Stop lying.
Hey, bravo to you, man. Continued success. I'm going to come out and catch your show. So I'm going to try to hit this thing. Big fan. Cheers to continued success, my man.
God bless you, bro. I appreciate the conversation.